Hello, my friend. I am so happy you found your way back here tonight, right when the world is quiet and your bed feels like a safe, soft harbor. This evening we are traveling somewhere extraordinary together, somewhere hidden beneath the desert stars. Right now, as you lie here with your eyes growing heavy, we are going to uncover the secrets of the Valley of the Kings, Egypt's eternal house of rest. Let yourself settle in a little deeper. Let your pillow hold the weight of your thoughts, let your breathing slow to a gentle rhythm, and let the noise of the day melt into the dark. All you need to do is listen. Tonight I will share with you the quiet wonders of that ancient place, one fact at a time, like unwrapping a gift in the dark. There is no rush at all. If you drift off before we finish, know that your dreams may carry you right to the edge of those golden chambers. And if nights like these bring you peace, you can subscribe, and I will be here waiting whenever you need a voice in the stillness. So now, let us begin. Hidden deep within the limestone cliffs, the Valley of the Kings served as a peaceful sanctuary for the pharaohs of the New Kingdom for nearly 500 years. Imagine the royal architects surveying the barren, sun-bleached hills, choosing a place where the rock itself would become a guardian. They carved winding corridors into the heart of the earth, turning the stone into a silent subterranean world. Each passage was designed not just as a tomb, but as a protective cradle, meant to hold the sleeping king safe from the passage of time and from any disturbance. The air inside was still and cool, a perfect, hushed sanctuary, far from the glittering palaces of the living. The discovery of Tutankhamun's tomb in 1922 revealed a shimmering treasure trove of gold and lapis lazuli that had remained undisturbed for over 3 millennia. Picture the flicker of a lantern catching the first glint of gold after thousands of years of absolute darkness, the dust sparkling in the air like a quiet breath of history. This golden sanctuary was unique because it was nearly intact, a time capsule sealed with a child king's final dream. It offered a gentle, almost intimate glimpse into the immense wealth and artistry of the 18th dynasty, from the delicate inlay of the jewelry to the solid gold of the death mask that seemed to hold a whisper of a smile. Ancient artists adorned the tomb walls with soft, drifting depictions of the Book of the Dead, using natural pigments made from ochre and malachite. They ground the earth into paint and brushed it onto the limestone, creating scenes that were not frightening but serene, almost like a slow dance. The murals showed the pharaoh meeting gods and gliding through gateways, each image a step on a spiritual map. These paintings were a guidebook, a promise of a gentle transition for the soul, a way to navigate the mysterious journey into the afterlife without fear. The colors, even now, hold a quiet warmth, as if the prayers painted there still hum softly against the walls. To ensure a peaceful rest, the Egyptians utilized a sophisticated system of hidden entrances and deceptive corridors to shield the burial chambers. They built false doors and dead-end passages, carving the stone with the sole purpose of leading confused intruders away from the sleeping king. After the sealing rituals, many tombs were carefully covered with layers of limestone debris and fine desert sand. This camouflage was so perfect that the tombs seemed to vanish, their entrances blending seamlessly into the quiet, unchanging desert landscape, as if the mountain itself had pulled a blanket over its precious secret. The valley is not just a place of stone, but a gallery of celestial wonder, with ceilings painted as a deep, midnight blue canopy filled with golden stars. In the profound darkness underground, these painted skies would have flickered in the lamplight, making the chamber feel boundless. These starry ceilings represented the goddess Nut, a divine mother who arched her body across the heavens. It was believed that each night she swallowed the sun and each morning gave birth to it anew, and in the same loving way, she wrapped the world and the sleeping pharaoh in a warm, protective embrace, holding him forever under her shimmering, eternal cloak. Not far from the grand resting places of the kings, there lies a quieter sanctuary, the Valley of the Queens. It is a place where the stone seems to hold its breath, offering a softer, more intimate embrace. Here, royal wives and beloved children were laid to rest, cradled in chambers that whisper rather than shout. The artwork upon the walls turns your imagination toward the quiet beauty of nature itself. You can almost see the delicate lotus flowers blooming in slow motion, their petals unfurling toward an unseen sun, and the papyrus reeds seem to sway in a breeze that isn't there. Imagine wandering through this painted garden, where the colors glow with a gentle luminescence like moonlight on still water. It is as if the artists painted a serene dream of the afterlife, a place where the departed could wander in perpetual peace. Each brushstroke feels like a whispered lullaby, meant to soothe a cherished soul into its endless slumber, wrapped in nature's calm embrace. To ensure their peace in the realm beyond, each pharaoh was provided with shabti figures. These were small, carved servants, often crafted from the soft blue of faience or the warm grain of dark wood, their tiny hands holding miniature hoes and baskets. They were meant to perform any gentle task the afterlife might require, so the royal sleeper could drift in eternal tranquility. You can picture them nestled in quiet niches within the tomb, standing in silent rows like a miniature army of peace, their painted eyes glinting softly in the darkness. Each one was inscribed with a spell from the Book of the Dead, a promise to answer whenever the name was called, to till the fields or carry water in the other world. In some tombs, their chambers are like libraries of labor, each shabti a silent promise sworn in clay and glaze. These little figures were guardians of rest, tucking away the labors of existence so the soul could float freely in a dreamlike state, untouched by toil, cradled in a cocoon of eternal calm. The Valley of the Kings was not chosen randomly. Its geography holds a secret in plain sight. The cliffs that surround it frame a distant peak known as Al-Qurn, which rises from the desert floor like a natural pyramid. This stone mountain, with its perfect triangular silhouette, captured the imagination of the ancient Egyptians. It seemed to them a symbol carved by the gods, pointing toward the floating realms of the divine. This natural pyramid provided a profound connection between the terrestrial world and the sky, a silent bridge of stone that guided the spirit upward. Even today, as the sun casts long shadows across the sand, Al-Qurn stands in solemn silence, its peak catching the last light like a beacon of eternity. For those who built the tombs, it was a daily sight that reaffirmed their faith in an orderly cosmos. As you stand in the valley, gazing at that peak, you can feel the weight of this symbolism, a gentle reminder that the earthly tomb was just a doorway to the heavens, watched over by the eternal mountain. Deep within the architecture of many tombs lies a remarkable feature, the well shaft. This is a deep, vertical opening cut precisely into the rock, designed with a thoughtful purpose. Its function was to collect any rainwater that might seep through the mountain, channeling it away from the inner chambers. This clever engineering kept the royal sleeping quarters dry and cool, protecting them from the elements that could damage the fragile paintings. Imagine the gentle trickle of water being drawn into the darkness, while the burial chamber remained untouched, a silent cocoon of preservation. It is a testament to the ancient builder's foresight, a hidden guardian that silently served its purpose long after the last torch was extinguished. As you peer down its dark throat, you can almost hear the faint echo of dripping water, a sound that once meant safety for the eternal sleepers. Thanks to this shaft, the vivid scenes of the afterlife have survived, their colors still glowing with an inner fire, whispering stories across thousands of years. Step deeper into the silence, and you will notice the air itself feels different here. It remains perfectly still and hushed, as if holding its breath for millennia. And there is a scent, so faint you might think you imagined it, a delicate fragrance of ancient resins and dried cedar wood. This lingering perfume is a remnant of the gentle embalming process, when the body was carefully anointed with warm oils and fragrant spices. You can almost envision those final rituals, the priest's hands moving softly, wrapping the pharaoh in a cocoon of myrrh and juniper. This sacred scent was meant to purify and guide the soul on its eternal journey. It is a smell that doesn't assault the senses, but gently invites you into the mystery, like an old library full of secrets. Now, it persists as a ghostly whisper of the past, a sensory thread connecting you directly to the ancient mystery. In that still air, time dissolves, and you are breathing the same molecules that once touched the skin of kings. Every breath becomes a quiet communion with the long departed. Imagine Tutankhamun's tomb, resting in silence for millennia, beneath a soft layer of limestone debris and the entrance of another tomb. When Howard Carter first peered inside in 1922, he glimpsed a golden world frozen in a gentle slumber, untouched by time. The treasures shimmered faintly, as if waking from a long dream, and every object whispered secrets of a young king's journey into eternity. The soft limestone that sealed the entrance had kept out everything but the dreams of the pharaoh, preserving a world of gold and lapis lazuli. That hidden chamber, filled with quiet reverence, invited us to witness its sacred stillness, where the dust-covered gold held a patient grace through the ages. In that profound hush, the passage of centuries felt like a mere breath. In many such tombs, you will find celestial ceilings painted in a deep, midnight blue, adorned with shimmering golden stars. These artworks mirrored the night sky to guide the pharaoh's soul toward the heavens, each star a gentle beacon cradling the spirit in its light. The lapis lazuli pigment evoked the infinite cosmos, while the gold leaf flickered like distant suns, promising a peaceful journey. This eternal map led to a voyage among the constellations in calm assurance, where the sky's embrace was always tender and full of light. Every glance upward would have filled the heart with a quiet wonder, as if the stars themselves were holding their breath for the soul's ascent. Outside, the Valley of the Kings lies carved into Thebes' limestone hills, hidden behind a natural peak called Al-Qurn, which rises like a gentle pyramid. This mountain provided a protective embrace for the royal tombs, nestling them in a secret fold of the landscape with a perpetual hush. The warm limestone seemed to absorb the sun's last light, casting a soft glow over the hidden resting places. Its pyramidal form stood as a silent guardian, concealing monumental aspirations and watching over the valley's slumbering kings and queens. This sanctuary, chosen by ancient forces, allowed only the desert winds to visit its quiet entrances, preserving a timeless silence. Deep within these sacred hills, the skilled artisans lived in the secluded village of Deir el-Medina, where they spent days carving stories into rock by soft candlelight. Their hands worked with deep reverence, embedding eternal harmony into each hieroglyph as an act of quiet devotion. In the dim tombs, their shadows danced on the walls, companions to the sacred narratives they etched for the gods. This was not labor for fame, but a prayer in stone, a testament to human dedication in the flicker of flame. The isolation fostered a community where art and faith intertwined silently, and their whispered legacy still speaks to us across millennia. Finally, many tombs contain a well shaft, a deep vertical hole carefully placed to gently divert floodwaters from the burial chambers. This simple trench channeled water away, keeping interiors dry and murals vibrant for thousands of years. The rush of redirected water faded quickly, leaving painted walls in colorful slumber, undisturbed by nature's tears. It was a quiet triumph of foresight, a subtle guard that protected the pharaoh's journey from earthly turmoil, ensuring the celestial guides remained clear. In that profound stillness, every detail maintained an unbroken peace, a haven where time held its breath for the golden stars above. And as we wander deeper into these hidden chambers, your gaze might be drawn upward to the walls, where elegant, flowing scripts tell a story not meant for the living. These are passages from the Book of the Dead, painted with such care that each hieroglyph seems to hum with quiet intention. They were never intended to be seen by mortal eyes, but rather to serve as a soft, whispered guide for the pharaoh. The prayers and spells wrap around the stone like a gentle hand on a shoulder, offering safe passage through the winding, shadowed paths of the afterlife. It's as if the very walls are murmuring reassurances, their ancient words still echoing in the silence. There, at the chamber's heart, the pharaoh rests not in a single coffin, but in a series of them, nested one inside the other like warm, protective cocoons. The outermost sarcophagus is carved from heavy stone, its weight a promise of security, while inner layers might gleam faintly with gold, each one a softer, more sacred sanctuary. This layering wasn't merely for grandeur, it was a tender embrace, a way of cradling the body for eternity. You can imagine the artisans lowering each lid with reverent care, sealing away the worldly form so that the soul could dream undisturbed, wrapped in a silence so deep it feels like the earth itself is holding its breath. This profound stillness was no accident. The royal tombs were deliberately placed far from the bustling city of Thebes, out in a remote valley where the desert stretches endlessly under a vast, unbroken sky. That distance created a floating sense of isolation, as if the tombs exist in a realm between worlds, untouched by the noise of markets or the chatter of daily life. Standing there today, you feel that same quiet separation. The modern world falls away, and you're left with only the whisper of wind across sand. It ensured that the transition to the afterlife remained undisturbed, a silent, sacred journey uninterrupted by the living. And yet, despite the darkness, the tomb paintings still glow with a vibrancy that seems almost magical. The artists used pigments ground from the earth itself. Soft ochre, the color of sun-warmed soil, deep lapis lazuli, as blue as a twilight sky. These natural minerals have held their brightness for thousands of years, as if time has simply forgotten to fade them. When a flicker of light catches a wall, the colors bloom with a warm golden radiance, casting an amber glow that dances across the silent hallways. It's a quiet luminosity, not harsh or demanding, but gentle, like the last light of a setting sun that lingers just to keep you company. And now, as you walk these corridors, the air shifts. It becomes cool and still, carrying the faint mineral scent of ancient stone and distant desert sands. The darkness here doesn't feel empty. It feels full of a profound, enduring peace, wrapping around you like a soft blanket. There's no rush, no urgency, just the steady, silent presence of a space that has held its breath for centuries. It's a feeling of being suspended in time, cradled by the valley's gentle darkness, where the world above fades into a distant memory, and all that remains is rest. Hey, still roaming these silent halls? That's all right, you don't need to be anywhere but here. But if your eyes are still open, I have more quiet wonders to share with you, stories that have slept in this valley for millennia. If you're enjoying this, a like might guide another restless soul here. Down in the deepest folds of the Valley of the Kings, the tomb of Tutankhamun lay in a silent sleep for over 3,000 years. It remained hidden, a secret kept by the desert, until the year 1922 when Howard Carter peered through a small opening and saw wonders. He found a treasure trove of gold that shimmered like captured sunlight and lapis lazuli as deep as the midnight sky. Every amulet, every jewel, was placed there to ensure the young king's peaceful passage into the afterlife, a dreamlike journey through the stars. The air inside was still, filled with the patience of millennia, and the pharaoh's spirit seemed to rest in a tender, timeless embrace. This sacred space preserved his memory, a gentle whisper from an ancient world. The Valley of the Kings is a gentle labyrinth of hidden corridors and steep shafts, designed to cradle the pharaohs in seclusion. Ancient artisans carved these limestone sanctuaries with tender care, working in the soft glow of oil lamps. The dim light danced on the walls as they sculpted serene chambers, each one a quiet refuge for eternal rest. These delicate passageways twist and turn, guiding the soul away from noise and into a deep, peaceful stillness. The silence here is not empty. It is filled with the whispers of 1,000 years of devotion. Every stone was placed to keep the kings safe in their final dreaming. Look closely at the tomb walls, and you will see the Amduat, a series of serene paintings that tell a timeless story. They depict the sun god Ra floating through the 12 hours of the night, a cosmic voyage through darkness. This celestial map guided the spirit on a warm, starry journey, promising a new dawn after each long night. The images are dreamlike, with Ra on his boat, crossing the underworld's quiet waters, while stars twinkle in silent reverence. Every scene is a step toward rebirth, a gentle unfolding of the soul's endless cycle. The soft tones of ochre and blue wrap around you like a lullaby, ensuring the pharaoh's spirit never feels alone. In these pictures, death is just another peaceful sleep before the morning sun. The Valley of the Kings was selected for its secluded location, hidden away behind a natural mountain peak named Al-Qurn. This pyramid-shaped hill stands as a silent guardian, watching over the resting places of the New Kingdom rulers. Its form, carved by nature, mimics the sacred pyramids that once kissed the sky. Al-Qurn's shadow wraps around the valley like a protective cloak, shielding the tombs from the outside world. The ancient Egyptians felt its presence as a living symbol of rebirth, a steadfast friend to the pharaohs in their eternal sleep. From its summit, the desert spreads out in waves of gold, a serene sea of time. Here, under its gaze, the kings find peace, cradled in the earth's quietest corner. Within the depths of the tombs, ancient architects carved special doorways, known as false doors. These were not meant for living feet, they were spiritual portals for the soul. A false door allowed the spirit to drift peacefully between the physical world and the eternal realms. Carved from stone and adorned with quiet inscriptions, they stood as thresholds between here and forever. The soul could pass through, moving like a soft breeze, while the body rested undisturbed in its chamber. These doorways were acts of love, a way to keep the beloved dead connected to the sunlit world. In the silence, you can almost sense a gentle presence, a soul coming home for a brief, invisible visit. Step softly now into the quiet chambers of these ancient tombs. The walls embrace you with a gentle palette, ochre like the first light of dawn on desert sands, turquoise reminiscent of calm, shallow waters, and deep reds that echo the last embers of a sunset. This warm atmosphere was crafted to comfort the deceased, a final resting place wrapped in a visual lullaby. These pigments were born from the earth, natural minerals ground into fine powder and blended with honey and water, a simple alchemy that preserved their luminous glow for thousands of years, a soft radiance that still whispers in the dim light. Look upward, and the tomb of Seti I reveals a ceiling transformed into a deep midnight sky, scattered with golden stars that seem to breathe in the darkness, each one a pinpoint of eternal stillness. This celestial canopy creates a sensation of floating, weightless, as if you are suspended in an endless and peaceful cosmos. It mirrors the Egyptian vision of the afterlife, a realm where souls drift through eternal night, cradled by the light of unchanging constellations, forever at peace in the vast silent heavens where time itself loses its meaning. To protect these royal sleepers, the Egyptians designed sophisticated hidden chambers, veiled in secrecy behind towering limestone slabs, heavy and silent as the deepest slumber. These elements were not just barriers but guardians of stillness, working in perfect harmony to wrap the tombs in a cocoon of silence. The chambers lay hidden, their secrets buried deep, so the royal sleepers could slumber on without a single disturbance, wrapped in the earth's embrace, a promise of peace for all eternity. The Valley of the Kings lies nestled near the west bank of the Nile, where each evening the sun descends in a slow golden descent, painting the horizon with a soft fading light that lingers like a gentle sigh. This western horizon was more than a sunset. It was the gateway to the land of the dead, a realm of perpetual peace where the light never truly fades but glows gently on the edge of eternity. From this sacred valley, the journey beyond was seen as a quiet drift into that soft western light, a passage from warm earth to cool starry night. Breathe in the air of these deeper chambers. It remains cool and still, carrying a faint scent of ancient dust and dried resins, like a perfume from another age, fragile and timeless. This hushed environment preserves the whispers of the past, each grain of silence a memory held in place by the weight of centuries. It invites a sense of timelessness, a gentle reflection on the lives once lived and the quiet that now remains, a profound stillness that settles in your heart as you linger in the depths of history. Here, in the cool dark, you might feel the presence of something enduring, something that asks you to simply be still and listen to the silence. Deep within the Valley of the Kings, hidden chambers rest beneath layers of limestone debris, carefully concealed to keep them peaceful and undisturbed. For centuries, these silent corridors were cradled in the warmth of the desert sands, holding royal treasures in a quiet seclusion that felt like the earth's own lullaby. The heavy stone above was a soft blanket, meant to protect what lay within from the outside world. Imagine the stillness there, a deep and patient silence where time moved like a gentle breath, never rushing, never waking the sleeping pharaohs. It was a sanctuary woven from sand and stone, kept secret by the watchful desert. Among these tombs, one remained almost untouched for over 3,000 years, resting in a dream of its own. Tutankhamun's resting place, known as KV-62, was found in 1922 with a discovery that felt more like a gentle unveiling than an intrusion. When archaeologists first stepped inside, their torches cast a tender glow over golden chariots and shimmering jewelry, the light reflecting like distant stars caught in a quiet cave. The chamber sparkled with treasures that seemed to hum with ancient life, their surfaces soft and luminous in the flickering light. It was a moment of hushed awe, where the past and present met in a breath so light it felt like a prayer. The walls of these eternal chambers carry the story further, adorned with intricate murals that depict the journey of the soul through celestial realms. Soft earthy pigments, ochre and turquoise and deep lapis lazuli, paint a path of calm that guides the pharaohs toward everlasting peace. These colors are like whispers on limestone, each stroke a gentle note in a visual hymn, meant to soothe the spirit as it travels beyond the earthly world. Look at the scenes, they flow like a quiet river under a moonlit sky, carrying the sleeper from the darkness of the tomb into a realm of soft light. It is art made to cradle the soul, a serene map drawn in the language of color and form. In many tombs, there is a special room, the sarcophagus chamber, where the king's stone casket rests in a heavy, quiet silence. Massive blocks of quartzite enclose the sleeper, their surfaces carved with delicate hieroglyphs that wrap him in a protective, spiritual embrace. The air in this chamber feels thick with stillness, like a held breath that has waited centuries to exhale, the stone cool and smooth against the darkness. Each symbol is a wish, a soft spell etched into the rock to guard the pharaoh against the erosion of time, holding him in a sleep that knows no disturbance. It is a place of profound rest, where the weight of the stone seems to hum with a deep, enduring calm. The valley itself was chosen for its geography, a natural pyramid peak called Al-Qurn that rises like a serene silhouette against the sky. This mountain resembles a pyramid, its shape a symbolic gateway between the earthly realm and the floating gardens of the afterlife, where souls drift in eternal spring. The peak watches over the tombs, a silent sentinel carved by the wind and sun, its presence a gentle reminder of the transition between worlds. In the dreamy haze of the desert, you can almost see the pharaohs ascending, their spirits drifting toward that soft horizon, cradled by the warm air. The entire valley breathes with this ancient serenity, a lullaby written in sand and rock and the quiet between stars. Deep within the desert, not far from the royal tombs, there was a small village called Deir el-Medina. It was home to the artisans who carved these sacred sanctuaries. Day after day, they worked by the soft flicker of candlelight, their tools tapping in a slow and steady rhythm. Every line they drew and every symbol they etched was placed with a calm, meditative care, as if they were singing a silent lullaby into the stone. Beside the sleeping royalty, a gentle guide was often placed. It was known as the Book of the Dead, a collection of soft prayers and spells on rolls of papyrus. Its purpose was to cradle the spirit during its long transition. The words were meant to illuminate a peaceful path through the starry night of the underworld, like a loving hand leading the way through a quiet dream. Many of the burial chambers were built with sloping corridors. These passages descend slowly and gracefully into the cool, embracing earth, mirroring a soft drifting into a deep and endless sleep. The air in these lower galleries is perfectly still and hushed. It carries a faint, ancient perfume, a blend of timeless dust and dried resins that hangs in the silence like a memory. In the quiet corners of the tombs, you might find small figures called ashaptis. These tiny statues, glazed in a soft blue light, were tucked away as silent companions. They were meant to serve the pharaoh in the next life, but they would only awaken in the peaceful, reedy fields of Iaru. There, in that tranquil paradise, they would rise to assist their royal master with gentle, dutiful hands. The Valley of the Kings reveals its deepest beauty during the golden hour. As the day softens, the setting sun spills a warm amber glow over the pale limestone cliffs, as if the light itself is melting into honey. Then, as the glow fades and twilight deepens, the valley returns to a profound and sacred stillness. This silence is a perfect mirror of the timeless slumber of the kings, a sleep that has cradled them for thousands of years beneath the quiet stars. Many have dreamed of the valley's deepest secret, the hidden tomb of Tutankhamun. It rests far from the sun's gaze, in a quiet corner of the hills. Howard Carter first glimpsed its wonders in 1922, after it had slept undisturbed for over 3,000 years. Inside, thousands of golden artifacts still shimmer with a faint, whispering light. Every object seems to hold its breath, waiting in the quiet dark. You can almost hear the faint echo of ancient prayers, carrying dreams across the centuries. The gold seems to glow with its own inner memory, a reminder of a life once lived. It is a place where time has simply stopped, waiting for our eyes to finally open. Not far away, the Valley of the Queens rests in its own gentle silence. Here, the royal consorts were laid to sleep within the limestone cliffs. The tomb of Nefertari is a place of soft wonder, its walls alive with floating colors. Delicate paintings of flowers and reeds have drifted through time, untouched by the ages. They speak of a serene eternity, a garden that never fades, inviting you to rest among the petals. The colors seem to hum with a quiet energy, as if they were finished only yesterday. You can almost feel a gentle breeze moving through the painted reeds, stirring a sense of calm. The entire tomb feels like a lullaby, sung by the ancient hands that painted it.
The ancient architects carved these tombs deep into the mountain's heart. They sought to create a silent sanctuary, far from the world's noise. Each corridor was a path for the soul, a quiet transition toward the eternal stars. Walking these passages feels like moving through a dream, where every step brings you closer to the heavens. It is a journey of peace, wrapped in stone and shadow, guided by a gentle hand. These walls have seen the passing of countless moons, yet they remain steadfast and true. The silence here is not empty, but full of whispered hope. Each carving was a prayer, meant to carry the soul safely to the other side.
On many tomb walls, you will find the Amduat, a story told in paint and pigment. It maps the sun god Ra's voyage through the 12 hours of night. These images serve as a gentle guide for the pharaoh, leading him through shadows and light. The scenes are like a dreamscape, where gods and monsters drift in a silent dance. It is a map to the dawn, a promise of rebirth, drawn with colors that still breathe. The images flow like water across the stone, telling tales of hope and transformation. In the quiet dark, these stories become a lighthouse for the spirit. They remind us that even in the deepest night, light will always find a way. The Valley of the Kings was chosen for its deep, natural seclusion. Above it all, a mountain peak named Al-Qurn rises like a silent guardian. Its shape is a natural pyramid, mirroring the great monuments built further north. This peak watches over the valley, a timeless sentinel in the desert sky. It reminds the sleeping kings that they are home, beneath the stars, wrapped in the earth's quiet embrace. The valley itself feels like a cradle held by the surrounding hills. Al-Qurn stands as a reminder of the ancient world, a bridge between earth and sky. Its presence is a comfort, a shape that speaks of forever. The desert winds may whisper through the valley, but the mountain keeps its silence, a patient watcher. Deep within the Theban hills, there was a hidden village called Deir el-Medina, a quiet sanctuary for the artisans who devoted their entire lives to the royal tombs. Each day, in the soft lamplight, they would dip their brushes into bowls of ground malachite and ochre, then trace the sacred symbols onto the cool limestone walls. Their hands moved with a rhythm that became a kind of meditation, a gentle, unwavering grace. Every line of every hieroglyph was a whispered prayer, a promise that the pharaoh's journey into the afterlife would be wrapped in beauty. The stillness of their underground workshop was filled only with the hush of pigment meeting stone, a devotion so complete it seemed to slow the very passage of time, ensuring that the silence of the tomb remained unbroken for centuries. To guard that profound silence, The ancient architects wove illusions into the very architecture of the tombs. They carved false doorways that led only to solid rock, painted to look like passages into a deeper mystery. Hidden chambers were tucked behind sliding stone panels, their seams so fine that not even a breath of air could reveal them. These secret spaces were never meant to be found. They were designed to deflect any intrusion, to keep the treasures and the sleeping king in a cocoon of undisturbed darkness. The intention was pure protection, born from a wish to preserve an eternal, unshaken peace, as if the mountain itself was conspiring to hold the world at bay, letting the stillness inside remain perfectly intact, like a held breath that never needed to be released. Drifting across the painted walls, like a fragment of a dream, you will often find the blue lotus flower, a delicate motif repeated in soft, sky-touched hues. This flower was far more than decoration. It was the symbol of rebirth, of the sun being born anew each morning from the primordial waters. Its petals unfurled with the dawn, and in the tomb it represented the soul's own gentle awakening into the next world. The artists painted them in clusters, floating along the lower registers of the walls, a quiet procession of floral light. To see them now, even in a photograph, is to feel a sense of calm, an invitation to remember the cycle that moves from the deepest night toward the first pale glow of morning, a slow, steady drift into radiance. The pharaoh himself was cradled in a vessel of immense weight and cool serenity. Sarcophagi carved from quartzite or granite, polished to a soft, matte finish, would feel almost cold to the touch, a sensation that evoked the eternal stability of the mountains. Yet inside that stony embrace, the craftsmen had poured all their warmth. The exterior and interior surfaces were covered with flowing inscriptions, columns of hieroglyphs that wrapped around the king like a spiritual blanket, a continuous stream of protective prayers and guidance for the afterlife. It was an embrace that asked nothing in return, a silent, sturdy promise of safety, cradling the sleeping form with a love that had turned to stone, heavy and forever. As the day slowly breathes out its last light, the entire valley begins its nightly transformation. The evening breeze, a whisper barely stirring the sand, moves through the winding canyon like a lullaby. The limestone cliffs, which held the fierce gold of the sun all day, begin to soften, their ridges blurring into a gentle purple as the sky deepens into velvet. An immense living silence settles over everything, a silence so thick you could almost lean into it. It is a timeless stillness, mirroring the peace of the sleepers within the hills, those kings who have rested here for millennia. Here, in the fading light, there is no division between the world above and the dreams below, only a single, unbroken sea of quiet. Still floating somewhere in the twilight of the valley. That's nice. You don't need to hold on to any of these secrets. Just let them drift around you like the soft desert air. I'll keep the story going. You just rest. The Valley of the Kings is not a single cave, but a quiet network of hidden corridors carved deep into the limestone cliffs of the Theban hills. These secret paths were designed to shield the royal residents from the world, allowing them to drift into an eternal, undisturbed slumber. Imagine the stillness of those ancient passageways, where only the soft echo of your own breath might stir the peace. The rock walls hold centuries of silence, cradling the sleep of pharaohs who have long since passed into memory. It is a place where time itself seems to rest, wrapped in the cool darkness of the earth, each corridor whispering of a forgotten age where kings sought only the quiet embrace of the afterlife. Tutankhamun's tomb, known as KV62, remained hidden and peaceful for over 3,000 years until its discovery in 1922 by Howard Carter. Unlike most royal rests, this sanctuary remained almost entirely intact, preserving golden treasures that glimmer softly in the dim light of the underground chambers. Picture the moment Carter first glimpsed those wonders, the soft glow of gold flickering in his lantern light. The treasures lay undisturbed, as if waiting in a dream for someone to share their silent beauty. Each artifact tells a story of a young king whose rest was so perfectly guarded, not even time could break its spell. The walls of these tombs are adorned with the Book of the Dead, a series of gentle guides and spells painted in vibrant ochres and blues. These artistic maps were intended to help the pharaohs float effortlessly through the underworld toward a land of everlasting peace. The colors still dance softly on the stone, guiding the soul with quiet whispers of encouragement. Each hieroglyph is a stepping stone across a dark river, leading to a horizon of eternal calm. It is a visual lullaby, painting the path to a rest so deep that no worry can ever follow, the gentle spells promising a safe drift into a new and tranquil dawn. To maintain a sense of sanctuary, the ancient Egyptians chose a valley hidden behind a natural amphitheater of peaks. This secluded geography created a silent bubble of stillness, far removed from the bustling life of the Nile riverbanks. The mountains rise like silent guardians, shaping a bowl of peace where even the wind hesitates to speak. In this cradle of stone, the outside world fades away, leaving only the soft hum of the earth. It is a place where the soul can truly let go, floating free from the clamor of the living, the valley holding its secrets close in a perfect hiding place for endless rest. Many tombs feature a well shaft, a deep vertical opening designed to catch rainwater and prevent it from drifting into the sacred chambers. This architectural detail acted as a quiet guardian, keeping the delicate paintings and limestone walls dry and preserved for millennia. It is a simple yet profound piece of design, capturing the sky's tears before they can disturb the sleepers below. The shaft stands silent, a faithful protector of the art and souls within, ensuring that the silence remains unbroken by the drip of water. Through the long centuries, this humble feature has held the fort against decay, letting the beauty of the tombs endure in a state of perfect suspension. Deep in the Valley of the Kings, the tomb of Pharaoh Seti I unfolds like a gentle river flowing into the earth. Its corridors stretch far and wide, carved with such detail that it speaks of deep devotion. Above you, celestial ceilings are painted in a midnight blue, so dark it feels like the night sky itself. Golden stars shimmer softly upon this blue, mirroring the heavens in a quiet, eternal dance. It is a place where the earthly and the divine meet in perfect, peaceful stillness. This tomb was not just a burial chamber, it was a map of stars, guiding the royal spirit toward a horizon of endless calm. And not far from these royal tombs, there once stood a village called Deir el-Medina. Here, in the New Kingdom era, royal artisans lived and worked in hushed concentration. Day after day, they carved intricate reliefs into the stone, their hands moving with quiet skill. Every gilded line was a whisper of devotion, a silent prayer for the pharaohs they served. Their lives were simple, yet their work touched eternity, leaving a legacy of beauty in the deep silence. Imagine those craftsmen in the soft lamplight, their tools tapping gently against the rock. No rush, just the steady rhythm of creation. And around them, the air cool and still, filled with the scent of stone and incense. Within these deep chambers, the sarcophagi themselves were works of quiet wonder, crafted from massive blocks of quartzite or granite. They were polished until they glowed with a soft, lunar sheen. These heavy stone vessels provided a weighted, secure embrace, holding the royal spirit in a state of timeless repose. The smooth surface feels cool to the touch, like a river stone, and the pale light within reflects as if from a distant moon. It is a promise of protection, a stone womb for the journey beyond, anchoring the soul in eternal peace. And in that cool darkness, the stone seems to breathe with the weight of ages. Stepping deeper into the tomb, the air becomes cool and still, a gentle caress against the skin. It carries a faint scent of ancient dust and dried resin, a fragrance that speaks of ages long past. The silence here is heavy and warm, wrapping around you like a velvet blanket. It is a silence that soothes, a quiet companion in the dim light. Every breath feels slower, every thought drifts away into the peace of the stone. You can almost hear the whispers of history, soft and low, as if the walls themselves are dreaming. This is a place where time seems to stop, where the outside world fades into a gentle blur. And in the ancient past, soft light from flickering oil lamps filled these halls with a gentle, shimmering glow. The gold leaf applied to the ceilings would catch this light, creating a warm, golden radiance. This was not just illumination, it was a symbol of the eternal sun, guiding the soul toward a horizon of endless, quiet serenity. As you imagine that light, you feel a warmth within, a soft pulse of peace that carries you gently forward. The shadows danced on the walls, slow and lazy, as if time itself was asleep. It is a light that never fades, a promise of dawn in the deepest night. Now we drift deeper into the dream, where Egypt's sands hold stories older than memory. Let your breathing slow as we explore quiet tombs that whispered through the ages. Deep within the limestone cliffs, the tomb of Tutankhamun lay in perfect silence for over 3,000 years. It was a sanctuary untouched by the rush of centuries, a golden treasury that held its breath until Howard Carter gently lifted the veil in 1922. Imagine the first flicker of lamplight falling upon statues of ebony and gold, their eyes gazing into a world beyond. The air felt heavy with a sacred calm, as if the pharaoh's spirit still wandered there in peaceful slumber. Everything within the chamber shone with a soft, honeyed glow. The golden masks and alabaster jars rested as if the king had laid them down only yesterday, drifting undisturbed through the ages. Many tombs feature ceilings painted a deep midnight blue, adorned with countless golden stars that mirror the heavenly canopy above. This was not simply art, it was a map for the soul, guiding the pharaoh upward into the eternal stars. Gazing upon that celestial ceiling, you might feel the weight of the world lift, as the spirit floats peacefully from the dark chamber into a boundless night aglow with gentle light. The artists used crushed lapis lazuli to capture the color of the infinite, a blue so deep it seems to hold the promise of a forever sky. Each star was placed with quiet intention, a point of light to lead the way through the darkness into a realm of perpetual peace. Long ago, the Valley of the Kings was chosen as a hidden resting place, a secret folded into the barren hills. The era of towering pyramids had faded, for their bright limestone drew too many curious eyes. Instead, architects carved winding corridors deep into the rock, creating a hushed labyrinth where royal treasures could sleep unseen. The tomb entrances were carefully concealed, blending with the natural cliffs, so the valley remained a silent sanctuary under the open sky. Even now, the hot wind moves through the gorge like a whisper, guarding the quiet memories of those who rest within. The sun bleaches the stone, and the only sound is the shifting of sand, a patient guardian of the secrets beneath. Ancient scribes dipped their brushes into a palette of gifts from the earth. The vivid blue of lapis lazuli, the warm ochre, the green of malachite. With these gentle natural colors, they painted scenes of the afterlife onto the tomb walls, their careful strokes telling stories of a timeless journey. They showed fields of reeds swaying under a golden sun, where the soul could wander forever in a land of perpetual abundance. The colors have kept their vibrancy across millennia, as if the very minerals hold the memory of the peace they were meant to convey. Each brushstroke was a prayer, filling the chamber with visions of a paradise where sorrow never enters, where the figures move in serene procession, their faces lit by the eternal sun. On the walls of these hidden tombs, the Book of Gates is often inscribed, serving as a quiet guide for the soul. It describes a series of peaceful transitions through gates guarded by gentle deities, each passage leading the spirit closer to the light. The hieroglyphs dance in low relief, a silent map for the afterlife, ensuring the pharaoh's safe and steady journey. As the soul passes each gate, it sheds another layer of earthly weight, drawing nearer to the embrace of the sun god. In the soft flicker of a lamp, these ancient words seem to murmur a lullaby of eternal rest. And so the pharaoh drifts onward, forever safe within the arms of the divine. Deep in the heart of the Valley of the Kings, a chamber labeled KV-62 held a treasure of quiet wonder. It was a throne, gilded and gleaming, carved with delicate lotus flowers that seemed to bloom even in the darkness. These blossoms are ancient symbols of rebirth, a soft promise of awakening in the world that waits beyond this one. The craftsmen who shaped them imagined the soul rising gently, like a lotus opening at dawn, peaceful and renewed. The valley itself is cradled in a natural embrace, watched over by a peak the ancients called Alkern. This mountain rises in a shape so like a pyramid that it seemed the gods themselves had placed it there as a guardian. Its shadow falls across the tombs in a silent, protective gesture, offering a cool blanket of stillness beneath the blazing sky. There is a quiet comfort in that unchanging silhouette, a calm presence that has endured for millennia.
During the New Kingdom, builders carved pathways that lead down into the hushed body of the earth. Long corridors slope gently into darkness, each step drawing you away from the warm golden light of the desert above. The air shifts around you, growing cooler and more tranquil until the only sound is the soft rhythm of your own breath. In this deep stillness, the world outside feels distant, like a half-remembered dream. For decades, the skilled hands of artisans like Shabaka worked to transform bare limestone into surfaces as smooth as silk. They polished each wall with a patience that belongs only to those who believe in eternity. The result is a serene sanctuary, a space so calm and perfect that time itself seems to slow within it. They built not just a tomb, but a final resting place wrapped in a gentle, enduring peace.
On certain afternoons, a soft breeze wanders through the valley, stirring the ancient sands and carrying subtle scents of dust and stone. It moves without hurry, a whisper through the stillness that speaks of ages passing like clouds. The mountains stand in their profound quiet, holding echoes of a history that lingers in a warm, golden haze. Here, the line between memory and dream blurs, leaving only a deep, comforting silence that cradles the soul. Deep beneath the shifting sands, the tomb of Tutankhamun rested for over 3,000 years. It lay there, softly wrapped in the debris of ancient constructions, unseen and untouched by time. When Howard Carter rediscovered it in 1922, he uncovered a sanctuary bathed in stillness. Golden chariots stood patient and silent, their wheels frozen in the soft air. Shimmering jewelry glinted faintly under the dust, all preserved in a quiet, timeless slumber. The air itself seemed heavy with a patient hush, a warm blanket over the gold and lapis lazuli, guarding a story that needed no telling. In many tombs you will find a false door carved tenderly into the stone, a symbolic gateway warm to the touch of the Ka spirit. It allows the soul to drift gently between our physical world and the eternal realm, like a soft current of air through a crack in the wall. These portals were designed as spiritual bridges, ensuring the spirit could glide freely to receive offerings. Offerings of incense and bread, waiting on the other side, like a quiet breath of remembrance. The stone itself feels soft with meaning, a threshold for a journey without end, and the faint scent of an ancient gift still lingers in the still air. The valley is carved deep into the warm limestone of the Theban hills, a place where the soft golden light of the Egyptian sun reflects off the pale cliffs. This light paints everything in a quiet, dusty glow, as if the sun itself is whispering against the rock. This natural cradle was chosen with care, a vast geological embrace to shield the royal resting places. It protects them from the wandering winds of the desert, keeping the silence deep and still within the rock. The limestone cradles the tombs like a mother holding a sleeping child, shutting out the restless desert whispers, leaving only a profound and ancient calm. On the chamber walls, intricate paintings whisper the stories of the Book of the Dead. Soft pastel hues of turquoise and ochre drift across the stone, their colors still warm after all these ages, as tender as a last breath of daylight. These murals served as a gentle map, guiding the pharaoh through the celestial fields of reeds. The images are delicate, as if painted by a whisper, showing the pharaoh floating through a dream of reeds and water. Step by quiet step, they led the soul toward a state of permanent peace, a final rest in the soft light, where the reeds sway forever in a gentle breeze. To guard this royal peace, ancient architects carved hidden shafts and complex labyrinths into the rock. These winding paths twist into the deep dark, a silent maze meant to confuse any who wander near, their shadows swallowing sound and light. They were designed to keep the inner chambers still and floating away, far from the reach of the outside world. The silence there is so old and deep, it feels like a weightless sea, holding the sleepers in a vast, quiet embrace. You can almost feel the weight of it, pressing gently on your ears as you imagine the deep, untraveled shafts where the rock breathes. Just whisper. For 500 years, the Valley of the Kings held the sleeping pharaohs. It was a quiet, sacred sanctuary spanning the New Kingdom, where rulers sought a deep and eternal embrace beneath the warm stone. Imagine touching a sarcophagus of polished quartzite, smooth as a frozen lake and cool against the skin. These heavy stone cocoons wrap the royal remains in a sturdy, timeless stillness that holds its breath forever. Nearby lies the Valley of the Queens, a sister site resting in the same hushed silence. Here, royal consorts and princes dream beneath the shifting sands, creating a vast and peaceful landscape of ancestral memory that stretches soft and still into the darkness. Deep within the chambers, hundreds of tiny Shabdi figures stand in quiet devotion. These delicate figurines were carved to serve the pharaoh in the next life, their small forms ready to perform gentle tasks in the celestial gardens that wait beyond the veil.
The air itself is cool and heavy, carrying the faint scent of ancient resins and cedarwood. In that deep stillness, the weight of the world simply drifts away, leaving you floating in the soft and sacred dark. Just rest now. Close your eyes and drift back to the ancient sands of Egypt, where the Valley of the Kings lies hidden in a warm, endless quiet. Now let your thoughts wander to that hidden valley, where the air is still and the sand is warm. For centuries, the Valley of the Kings remained hidden, softly wrapped in a layer of limestone debris that drifted like a natural veil, silent and still over the entrances. This quiet blanket of stone was a vast, still guardian, holding all the golden treasures and painted murals in a deep, warm, and endless slumber. The secrets slept there, undisturbed and softly cradled in the velvet darkness, for thousands of quiet and peaceful years. Imagine the weight of that silence, the soft dust settling over the tombs, a warm blanket of time.
Among these sleeping tombs, one chamber draws you closer with its quiet intimacy. Tutankhamun's tomb, called KV62, feels remarkably small and quiet, a hidden gem compared to the grand halls of others, yet it was the only royal burial found nearly undisturbed. Within its hushed walls, artisans left shimmering chariots and a golden mask that catches a soft, timeless glow, offering a warm glimpse into the vast wealth of the 18th dynasty. The deep stillness there seems to hold the gentle breath of a young king, his brief golden reign frozen in warm and radiant gold. Can you feel the quiet reverence, the soft light touching the ancient gold? And within the stone, a deeper mystery awaits. Within many tombs, a false door is gently carved into the rock, a soft portal for the spirit to drift between the physical world and the eternal realm. These sacred carvings were believed to let the pharaoh's soul float quietly back and forth, receiving warm offerings of incense and bread left by loving, devoted hands. It remains a deep, still passage, a soft and warm whisper of connection across the vast, quiet silence of worlds. It is a door that never opens, but always beckons the soul home. Now lift your eyes to the heavens carved above, look up into the velvet darkness, and you'll see the royal chamber ceilings painted a deep midnight blue, dusted with warm golden stars that mirror the vast, ancient Egyptian sky. This celestial canopy was created to open a sense of infinite, peaceful space, allowing the king to drift gently among the constellations for all eternity. It remains a soft, glowing promise, a deep and still night that warmly cradles the soul forever. Feel the calm of that endless night, the golden stars whispering of forever. And in this sacred realm of eternal peace, one tomb glimmers as a masterpiece of silent beauty. Seti possesses one of the most exquisitely decorated tombs, its walls carved with flowing, delicate lines that seem to breathe with a soft, ancient rhythm. The reliefs show a serene, winding journey through the underworld, guided by soft light and ancient prayers to ensure a calm, deeply peaceful transition into the afterlife. This sacred space is a quiet masterpiece, a deep and still path traced in golden stone for the eternal, gentle voyage. Look closely, and the painted figures seem to move in the quiet, a dance of shadows and light. Let these ancient whispers carry you away now, into a deep and restful sleep, where the sand is warm, the stars are soft, and the eternal silence holds you gently and without end. The royal tombs lie deep within the cool, pale limestone of the Theban hills, far from the bustling life of Thebes, where the only sound is the softest hush of the desert breeze. Here, the warmth of the surrounding sands seeps slowly through the ancient stone, wrapping the sleepers in a gentle, protective embrace that feels as tender and enduring as a mother's whispered lullaby. This remote sanctuary, carved with patience and devotion from the heart of the mountain, holds a stillness so vast and complete it cradles the kings in a timeless, dreaming peace, shielded from the turning world above. Within the cool limestone chambers, the Amduat murals unfurl like an ancient, whispered story, depicting the sun god Ra's 12-hour journey through the deep, velvety darkness of the night, a recurring vision of passage and return. These paintings guide the eye through a slow, rhythmic progression across the underworld's silent landscapes, where each region unfolds with a soft, dreamlike calm, full of hidden depths and quiet mysteries, painted in faint hues of ochre and deep blue. The journey ends in a soft golden sunrise at the break of dawn, a moment so tender and luminous it feels like the world gently waking from a restful sleep, wrapped in the first warm, quiet light of morning. In the peaceful village of Deir el-Medina, nestled close to the sacred valley, the artisans lived lives of quiet purpose, their days marked by the soft, persistent tap of copper chisels shaping the cool, pale limestone. They worked in a gentle harmony, each movement deliberate and tender, as if coaxing the stone to release its inner stillness, carving out chambers meant for the deepest, darkest rest. These secret techniques, passed from father to son through countless generations, were woven like a soft, unbroken thread through time, creating the most serene and enduring sleeping places on earth, where every gentle strike of the chisel was a whisper of devotion that still lingers in the still, cool air. Step softly into the still corridors, and the air wraps around you like a cool silk veil, carrying the faint, tender fragrance of ancient cedar oil and the dusty, honeyed scent of dried resins from the mummification rituals, a perfume so delicate it feels like a whispered secret from the deeps of time. These subtle scents have soaked deeply into the soft limestone over thousands of years, lingering in the darkness like a gentle, fragrant memory that never fades, cradling the silence with its sweet, ancient breath. Each slow, quiet inhale you take creates a sensory bridge to the distant past, a fragile, invisible thread that connects your resting soul to the sacred peace of the eternal sleepers. Look up softly, and you will see the majestic peak of Al-Qurn, a natural pyramid-shaped mountain that rises above the sacred valley with a quiet, maternal grace, its form so gentle it seems to breathe in harmony with the sleeping kings below. This soft, sloping silhouette stands as a silent guardian, watching over the tombs through the long centuries, a constant, reassuring presence in the shifting desert light that feels both ancient and kind. Each evening, as the sun sinks slowly beyond the horizon, Al-Qurn casts a long, tender shadow over the valley, a slow, dusky embrace that settles like a warm, soft blanket, cradling the sleepers in a peaceful, dreamless quiet until the first light of dawn. Deep within the limestone cliffs, Tutankhamun's tomb rested in timeless slumber, hidden from the drifting sands and ancient eyes, until Howard Carter's gentle discovery in 1922. Soft ground minerals breathe glowing pigments onto eternal walls, painting the soul's delicate passage through the duat, guided by the tender hands of deities. Corridors carved into the Theban hills slope gently downward, guiding the spirit from the physical world into the earth's quiet, embracing slumber. Amidst towering peaks, the Valley of the Kings cradles a silent city of slumber, chosen to shield dreaming pharaohs from the eyes of the living. False doors of carved stone stand in the burial chambers, spiritual gateways for the soul to float peacefully between earth and the eternal afterlife. Deep within the stone, the sarcophagi lay nested like the petals of a golden flower, box within box, each layer a softer breath of linen and a glimmer of gold, wrapping the royal remains in a protective embrace that was not just physical but spiritual, a cocoon woven of eternity and silence, where the hushed darkness held the pharaoh in a state of perfect, unbroken stillness, as if the entire universe had drawn a gentle blanket over him and whispered, "Rest now, forever," in this sanctuary of timeless warmth. On the smooth limestone walls, the Amduat unfolded its intricate visions, a secret atlas of the 12 hours of night, each image a soft breath of instruction, mapping the journey through the darkness so the king could navigate the silent constellations, gliding through the underworld's rivers until the first ray of dawn broke over the rim of the world, when he would arise again reborn, the whole celestial manuscript, a gentle guide, a luminous thread, pulling him from sleep into the golden morning, whispering the promise of eternal return. High above the valley, the peak of Alkern lifted its ancient, weathered face, a natural mountain that had, over millennia, shaped itself into a pyramid, a soft and patient silhouette that whispered of the great stone monuments of the north. But here, tucked into the valley's gentle fold, it stood as a humble guardian, its shadow falling like a blanket over the tombs, connecting the buried royalty to an eternal lineage without ever breaking the desert's silence. This organic crown, a timeless bridge between earth and sky. In a peaceful village hidden in the hills, the ancient craftsmen of Deir el-Medina lived a life of quiet dedication, their hands shaping eternity with every careful stroke, chiseling intricate constellations and sacred texts deep into the tomb walls so that no surface remained untouched by their vision of divine order, infusing the rocky silence with a sense of celestial music, their art a humble offering that transformed the stone into a sanctuary of eternal peace, where the pharaoh could rest beneath a carved sky and the stars themselves would watch over him. Now, as the evening breeze brushes against the golden limestone, the Valley of the Kings settles into a silence so deep it feels like the breath of the world itself has paused. This stillness, a faithful guardian that has wrapped the new kingdom's secrets in a soft, unchanging twilight, the pharaohs resting in a warm darkness where time has lost its edge, their slumber an eternal hush beneath the cooling sands, cradled by the night, nothing stirring, only the memory of their glory humming low beneath the stars. And now, as the last image fades, I think it is time to let go. You have wandered through hushed tombs and ancient starlight, tracing the paths of kings who now sleep in an endless twilight. If this quiet hour brought you peace, a gentle like would mean the world, and if you subscribe, I will be waiting right here whenever you need a voice to guide you into rest. Tonight, the Valley of the Kings opened its heart to you, and I hope its silence follows you into your dreams. Good night, sleep deeply, and remember, the pharaohs still dream beneath the stars. Rest now, everything is exactly as it should be.